Hello everyone, Videos A32 back, and it's time for another edition of What's on Deck. As you can see, I do have a new deck review up, the Cincy 52 Cincinnati inspired playing cards. Check it out, I might have more reviews today, who knows. As it is right now, I got reviews lined up for the rest of the year. It is unbelievable. And you can find out my whole schedule as is by going to the discussion tab. Whoop, right here. I'll just show you that quickly. And you'll see right here the current schedule. Lots of deck reviews and videos coming up. And there might be some changes, like I said. Let's get on with what's going on Kickstarter. Now, first up, Grinders for Midnight Playing Cards. Randy Butterfield has relaunched. Previously, he was doing it. It wasn't quite getting there funding-wise, so he canceled, and he's relaunched. And now there's 2 decks instead of 1, and he has funded. He has discovered that in order to do better funding-wise, you need to have more limited edition decks. So he came out with this white gold deck. Less than 170 left as of right now. Let's see, it's going to have copper and silver foils. And it's going to have big gold holographic foil on the limited edition gold version you see there. Well, it should be pretty good. Only 500, by the way, of that white gold deck. With gold holographic foil and black foil. Pretty interesting. The other one, the copper deck is going to be less limited, obviously. Not so limited. So here you see the one, white gold, and here's the copper one. They're both very nice. A little bit pricey, and to be produced by Legends. It's got a bit of a poker theme, as you can see. That's what the inspiration was, and you see that on the Jokers, which are revealing a card for you, by the way. It's pretty cool. And the court cards are fairly standard, as usual with his decks, which is a little bit disappointing, but at the same time it fits with a poker themed deck, so I got no problem with that. And there is customizations with the pips and the borders and the colors, so it's all good. And then your number cards, again, a bit of customizations, but still fairly standard looking, which is fine. Nice dealer coin. Looks pretty cool, but at $15 each, you know, it's getting expensive. When you got decks of cards that are $15-20 each, and then they want you to buy coins and chips and dice, and everything is going up in prices, it's getting less attractive to buy coins and stuff like that, and less affordable. But anyways, currently this one is funded. 24 days remain. And the gold decks, the white gold decks, are running low. So if you want to get them, do so before it's too late. Let's do this. Oh, by the way, the copper deck will either be 1,000 or 2,000 printed. Anyways, moving on to the next project. Meiko, or Mako, playing cards, which is being run by Bo Chalice and Gianluca Hayes. It's actually designed by Thomas Pinston, who's done a couple of projects on Indiegogo with no success. This is definitely a cardist inspired deck of cards, or made for cardists. Currently it is 31% funded, 25 days to go. It's getting there slowly. Some people were less than thrilled about the shipping costs to the US. I think it's $9 shipping to the US. But that is Australian dollars. So it works out to be about $6 US. So you're looking at $10 US plus $6 shipping for one deck. It's not all that bad. I always think it's funny when American backers are up in arms about shipping costs on Kickstarter projects. They're not the ones who have to pay shipping costs on almost every single project. Such as people like myself and a lot of other international backers. And for them to complain about a shipping cost on a deck it drives me nuts just a little bit. And I'm sure it does for a lot of other international and non-American backers. I mean, is it too much to ask if you want a deck, pay a little bit in shipping? I mean, just once every now and then without making a big deal about it? I don't think it is. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, here you see the cards. Pretty nice. I was going to get it, but I'm trying to cut back on expenses. So I'm not going to get it, not at this point in time. I think I would be probably more likely to get it if there was a third color in the back design, kind of like the Grotesque, instead of this being black and white. I mean, it's fine. It's pretty interesting. But at the same time, you see the faces are standard, boring gray colors. Nothing really pops. The back design is just black and white. The faces are gray and black and white. And it's not doing it for me. I'm not a artist, so I'm not overly interested. So that is that one. And that one, by the way, like I said, 31% funded, 25 days to go. Nothing wrong with it, but it's fairly standard. And when you're cutting back on costs, that becomes something that you tend to not go for. It may or may not happen, we'll see. Still got plenty of time. Martini. And the reason why Tumas is not running the project is because he can't in his country, so he's got other guys doing it. And that's fine. That's something I suggested quite some time ago. He's had a couple of projects, like I said, on Indiegogo. It didn't do well, and now he's trying finally on Kickstarter. And we'll see how that goes. Oh, this one I wanted to mention quickly before we get on to the next deck. It is the Ouroboros playing cards from Lord's Playing Cards. It's getting there. This one's been here for a couple of weeks. I've mentioned it before. I just wanted to talk about it because of this. Every third backer will get one deck free. This, to me, especially from a creator who's had only one successful project, doesn't have a lot of followers, is a financial no-no. And I would recommend not backing it because in the end, he's giving out all these free decks. He's not going to be able to afford these costs, these expenses. You can't give out free decks on Kickstarter, especially if you don't have the finances and the resources for it, which a creator like this does not have. I mean, to me, giving out free decks, that is desperation to try and get the project funded. And it shouldn't even be allowed, really. But whatever. If he wants to do that, if you want to back it, you're foolish enough to back a project like that, by all means. These decks aren't that great that I'm going to jump in on them anyway. Moving along, I just want to point that out. It looks like it's going to fund, but we'll see. Number 17, La Rouge from the Requiem team, Lorenzo Gazziotti. Stockholm 17 is very well funded. 26 hours to go. Make sure you pick these up before it's too late. Definitely check them out. They're pretty awesome. Now let's move on to the next deck here. The Danexa 100% plastic playing cards in a bridge size, because those are ever popular, from Danexa Games. It's currently 3% funded, 25 days to go, and this does not have a chance in hell. I mean, it does have a chance, but a very, very slim chance. Very few plastic playing cards. I know this for a fact because I've been backing Kickstarter playing card projects since the very beginning of Kickstarter playing card projects. I know for a fact, and tell you for a fact, that really there's been like 2 decks that I can think of that were plastic that actually funded on Kickstarter. One of them was the Plain Arts deck, which featured completely custom art on every card from 52 or 54 different artists, whatever it was. And I even got one of those myself. And the other one was sets of plastic playing cards from Playing Cards Net Gamblers Warehouse, and they had the backers and the followers to support that, and they barely made it, if I recall correctly. This one does not have the supporters and the backers, apparently, And it's a bridge-sized deck, which very few people have an interest in. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I said this to the creator. People who buy plastic playing cards are not going to buy them on Kickstarter. They can buy them at different poker supply shops or department stores or wherever they get them. If they want them, they can get them elsewhere. I also don't think there's a huge demand for bridge-sized playing cards, especially plastic ones. And even furthermore, the people who are buying or backing playing card projects on Kickstarter are either magicians, cardists, or collectors, none of which have an interest in plastic playing cards, especially standard bridge-sized playing cards like this. So I can pretty much guarantee this one's not going to happen with those things being said. Let's move on to the next one. I can't believe I have to talk about this. This is ridiculous. But this is the Grotesque playing cards from Grinning Rook, which is more like Grinning Rookie Idiot. I didn't even write this one down, did I? Oh, wait, there it is. It's currently 24% funded, 19 days to go. If it funds, which it probably will, it's only because it's got a ridiculous logo of 666 pounds, which is just bad luck altogether to have a number like that. This is a blatant rip-off of a name of the Grotesque playing cards from Lautrec. I cannot recommend backing it because the creator knows that full well. By the way, I did pledge for it just because I wanted to post comments and let people know you're idiots for backing a project like this. But I will be canceling that right away. You can be rest assured of that. This is a blatant rip-off. The name, the creator knows that full well because of the fact that he launched this not even a couple of weeks after Lautrec's project ended. I mean, it's been like a week since Lautrec's project ended. And he was very quick to go on United Cards and possibly Playing Card Farm, I don't know, and make a post about this playing card project. Since he is active on the forum, he knows about Lautrec's project and his previous projects. And that to me just is ridiculous. It's trying to make money and get support based on somebody else's project name, and it could even be a scam for all I know, and I cannot recommend backing it. And it's not even that great of a deck anyways. I mean, it is original, but there's not a whole lot of creativity in the court cards. They're all fairly similar. The number cards, they're fairly straightforward. And in the back design, it looks like something I've seen on another project, to be honest. It's not overly exciting, and I just don't recommend it. I don't even know who's producing it, other than it seems like it might be NPC or somebody else. But that's that. Let's move on from this and go on to something else. Martini playing cards. Currently 16% funded, 12 days to go. It does only have a $1,500 goal, but it is not getting a whole lot of support so far. Only a couple $100. I'm not sure it's going to make it. This is from Absolute Zero with his first project, his or her. And it's a very minimalist deck, and I'm not a fan of it. I don't care what name they put on Tough Guess. I could have called it anything, really. It's just there's also apparently a black version, as you can see right here, which is actually more of a gray version. This is not black, this is gray. When you get black on the face of a card that's supposed to be black, it ain't black, it's gray. This is black on gray. Calling it black doesn't make much sense. But there's that one. There's the cards. Very minimalist look. It just says Martini on all the faces. There's a crown on the court cards. The number cards, again, it's just a pip with Martini. As you can see, it makes it very difficult to distinguish between an ace and a 10 and a 5 when they all just got a pip in the center. It's pretty lazy and lackluster, in my opinion, at that. It's just, there's not a lot of effort put into it. The back design is just a repeating pattern with a kind of a fancy M on it, which makes it a very one-way back design and very unattractive to a lot of backers. So that's that. I mean, back it if you like it. By the way, very interesting. These are going to be printed, if it funds, by Zamaco with their alpha, smooth finish stock and whatever, which is pretty interesting. I haven't seen any other projects through Zamaco, and I didn't know that it would be that inexpensive, but whatever. I don't think that it's going to happen. Look at this. He's got this fancy M logo here in his, right here. Why not use something like this? Make it a mirror image back design instead of a one-way back design. I don't know. Brandon Kirk is the creator. He's done another project before. At least one other project. There you go. He did the Celtic-inspired playing cards. This is interesting. He's deleted that account. And I think there's some fulfillment issues. Or maybe not. Everything was cancelled, unsuccessful. Okay. I'll have to double check this stuff because I'm pretty sure this is unfulfilled. Moving along. Style Deck, which is another name ripoff of the B2C style deck. But it is a completely different deck. It's not similarly themed like the Grotesque. This one is currently 25% funded, 17 days to go. I'm sorry if this video is going to be very long. I apologize. Again, it's a one-way back design. Very simple back design, not one that particularly appeals to me. And the faces, they're all about style and fashion, shoes and clothes. And it's just a bunch of garbage in my opinion. When I get a deck of playing cards, I don't want it to have all sorts of information on it. Not like this anyways. This is just ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of creators putting whatever they want on faces of decks of cards and trying to sell it. You can't just put anything you want on a deck of cards and hope it sells and, hope it makes sense. It's ridiculous. It's an interesting idea, I guess, but it's getting ridiculous where people are just throwing whatever on faces of playing cards and trying to get them funded. I don't think too many people are interested in decks of cards like this. I mean, so far it's got 92 backers. Is it going to get $10,000 in funding in the next 17 days? Probably not. But, whatever. This is from Eric Feliciano, who's had another project, which was on Leather Roses. Another fasten item. Give me a break. Alright, moving along. Sweater backs from Eric Twitty. That one, by the way, was 25% funded, 17 days to go. May or may not happen. I'm not thinking it will. This one, Sweater backs, third attempt from Eric Twitty. It's currently 18% funded, 22 days. It's not looking good in his third attempt. He has gone down from $38,000 goal in the first project to a $10,000 goal to a $5,000 goal. And he has consistently lost backers and funding for some reason, which is not good. I think not being bicycle branded is a turnoff for some backers. This fancy CL on the front of the tuck case is something that myself and others mentioned and said, you know what, remove it, it's not a good idea. And he didn't listen. And then everything in the faces, it's pretty simple, straightforward. It's fine, it's an okay deck of cards, but it's just not doing it for me and apparently a lot of other backers. There's a stretch goal for a second one, as you can see, but it's not going to happen. And this is kind of the case where I'm hoping he doesn't continue to try and make it happen. It gets to the point where, you know what, if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Time to move on to something else, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll move on. Next up, Derby Lux playing cards from Christy Morris. This is currently 1%, 52 days to go. It's a very long project. I'm going to get sick and tired of seeing this one. It's got a horse racing theme, which is pretty cool, pretty interesting. The back design is okay. It could be better. All it is just a bunch of icons related to horse racing. There's boots, there's helmets, trophies, horseshoes, money, and a horse. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff thrown on there for the hell of it, in my opinion. My biggest problem with this is the reason it's not going to fund is because it's got an extremely high goal of $25,000, and that is because the creator is adamant. She's got to have all the fancy bells and whistles from the get-go instead of having a $10,000 goal and having stretch goals to add these items on later on, if it gets to that. That is a recipe for failure right there. You cannot say, okay, I have no followers, nobody knows who I am, this is my first project, and I'm going to do a deck with $25,000 goal, all the bells and whistles, foils and embossings and metallic inks and whatever, and it's going to fund. Especially with a deck like this. It's not going to happen. Start small. I've said this a million times. Start small and build it up. For a project like this, you should have started with like MPC printing and built it up. Never mind going with USB-C with all the bells and whistles. It's ridiculous. It's a recipe for failure. We'll look at the cards a bit more. This is another problem I had. The faces, fairly minimalist, fairly standard. It looks like a checker deck to me. When you look at these spades, it has nothing to do on the faces with the theme itself. And then you look at the number cards, it's just a pip. So you're talking about gold metallic inks on the faces, but that would just be the court cards, basically. So I don't see the point. It's just not a very appealing deck of cards. No stretch goals. No chance in hell. Moving along. This is coming soon to Kickstarter. It's also got some issues. It's the Geistreis playing cards, how you pronounce that. From Noir Arts, from Roman Kotiv. Created by Mickey Venhofen and Stefan Halber. It's an interesting deck, but it's got a lot of issues. First of all, and this is stuff that people have brought up, as you can see here in the comments. I'm not sure when it's supposed to launch. But first of all, the indexes, they need to be as close to the border as possible, as close to the edge as possible, to make it usable. Another thing, one-way court cards are a turn off for a lot of backers. Myself, I really don't care too much, but it is an issue. The indexes are not good, then doesn't make the deck usable, playable. And then there's these pips. The clubs are X's for some reason. The spades, the index at least, have triangles for some unknown reason. And it just doesn't make the cards usable or attractive for anything. And then they got these numbers in the center, which does nothing for me. It's completely unnecessary. Just there. And then your back design is a one-way back design for some unknown reason. Doesn't have to be. And it's got all the suits in there and all that crap, and it just, I don't know, it's interesting. I appreciate the effort put into it, but it's not a usable or practical deck of cards. And this would be better for a back design than what they got, in my opinion. It does have some good things about it, but at the same time it's got bad things about it, and it's not playable, it's not usable. Moving along, coming soon to Kickstarter, unfortunately, a red Saturn deck. And I said, I posted a comment and said, you know what, if you guys are going to do a whole bunch of different colors, just do them all at once. Get them out of the way. I mean, we don't need to see constant projects from these guys from different colors. It's just ridiculous. It's turning into a new version of the Fontaines, and I ain't buying. And then there's this coming soon from Collectible Point Cards. Finally, a nice deck. The Bicycle Aurora. Looks very nice. And definitely I will give you more information once it launches. And one more, coming soon to Kickstarter, November 27th to be exact. Another version, another project of the mechanical cards from, Dale Mathis. As far as I understand, the playing cards are going to be exactly the same as last time. It's just different mechanical cases, which for me is a no-go. It's too much money for something so minor, and I think that might be an issue for a lot of potential backers. So that's what's going on Kickstarter. Stay tuned for the non-Kickstarter decks. So let's continue with the other decks that aren't on Kickstarter. First of all, Christmas deck coming soon from Natalia Silva, and it will be sold at penguinmagic.com sometime before Christmas. Here you see, I guess, the front of the tuck case, the back, which is very similar to her Russian folk art deck, but very nice. And then there's the cards. It's a very transformational deck look to them, and they're pretty nice. I look forward to it. Not sure who's producing it. I believe it's going to be MPC. It was supposed to be anyways. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Next up, actually I do want to check another one out. A new deck now available for pre-order from scamstuff.com, which is from Brian Brushwood of Scam School. And that is these Arcana playing cards. There is the Omega and the Alpha deck, a black deck and a white deck. They look pretty nice. They're supposed to ship in mid-November. $20 for a set, not a bad price. Or like $12.99 each. So yeah, here you see the back design a bit. Let's see if I can zoom in. Pretty nice. They worked with Theory 11 and the USPC. They had a pretty awesome set of decks. There's also, you can get a coin and this box for like $100 if you really want. Here you see some of the faces. They're very nice. They put a lot of effort into it. They could have just done a fairly standard deck, but they did it. So I give them props for that. You can get these right now on pre-order, like I said. The only issue is if you are, well, at least for international customers, you have to ship either with UPS or DHL, neither of which is very inexpensive for shipping costs, not like USPS. So if you're an international customer, you might be reluctant to buy it with those shipping costs. Something that I'm hoping to rectify with them, we'll see. Moving along, the USPC posted some kind of a teaser during a football game, this Thursday Night Football deck. No idea if it's actually going to be a deck or if they're just doing this to promote themselves or what. But it'd be pretty interesting. All we've seen here is standard rider backs though. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that they did that. We'll see what happens with it, if it actually gets produced or not. I'll keep you posted. I want to point out these, now available at mymagic.com. It's party poker playing cards in green and blue. These are like the original party poker playing cards before they had to change their logos, before they had legal issues and had to relaunch them. Pretty interesting. Apparently the quality is mediocre, according to My Magic. But it's definitely got some collectible value to them here. It says they were produced prior to them being forced to leave the U.S. market in 2006. They're the original party poker decks. Card stock is mediocre, but the value of the cards is in their history. Of course, they've changed their logo and legally re-entered the U.S. market since then. That's that. They're pretty interesting. $15 for a set is not a bad price. Even if the quality is mediocre, I'm sure it's got some collectability to it. Then there's this. Another Lux deck coming soon from JP Playing Cards, again designed by Randy Butterfield. It's the Elliptica, and it's inspired by the B borderless backs, as you can see. Very nice. And it looks like they might be doing 4 colors. At least that's what they'd like to do. And here you see some of the faces. Again, fairly straightforward, but nice. And I look forward to checking these out in the future. Not quite as sexy as the Palm decks that they just recently started shipping that I'm hoping to get this week. but still very nice nonetheless. I want to mention quickly, what happened here? If I can find it. Now available in Art of Play from Bokobo playing cards is Blue Steel, which is fairly simple. The back is kind of reminiscent of the LTD decks. Fairly simple faces, minimal look to them. You can get them right now. Only $6 each. It's not a bad price. Printed by the USB-C. Definitely a good deck to have, I would say, for like doing card magic and playing cards and stuff like that. We'll move on. You can see the artwork there. You can check it out. My stupid computer. Always having issues. Let's move on to this one. Coming sometime within the next month, 2 Legends playing cards is this. Latitude and Longitude, which has a nautical theme. I don't know if it's 2 decks or 1 deck. We'll find out, I guess. This looks like it's a Latitude, and it's supposed to be a Longitude as well, so maybe it's 2 decks. Looks pretty interesting. And then, also, right now available from Legends playing cards is the Tenabra Zuka Pumpkin Orange Tenabra deck. If you backed it on Kickstarter, you're obviously going to wait a while longer for the black one to be finished production. And if you didn't, you can get it right now, which is what I'm doing. And this, I mentioned this quickly last week in a small update video after I found out about it. The Blue Crown has relaunched their website, as you can see, and it looks like they no longer have a link to House of Playing Cards, which could mean the end of that one. But they have also launched a new deck, limited edition apparently, Light Blue Crown deck. And, I mean, it's $5.95. The first 48 hours they were selling for $5 each. That's a pretty good price for a pretty nice looking deck of cards. So I definitely picked it up. I actually picked up 2 because I got 2 of all the other ones, so might as well. I no longer have 2 of the gold and the black because I sold them, but that's okay. See what else they got. And they were also offering free white NOCs of an order of $100 or more. Not sure if that's still ongoing or not. And I see they're also selling tally holes, eco edition bicycles, riderbacks, bees, all sorts of standard decks. And for much less than their own standard decks. Whatever. Also, Dan and Dave, they launched a new deck of cards on Friday, 2 days ago. Definitely recommend checking it out. It looks pretty awesome. It's the Sons of Liberty. They had a $10 each, but you can see a nice custom back design. Very nice tuck case. Void. The court cards, pretty customized. And what was it, Joker? Pretty interesting. Ace of Spades, pretty nice, pretty interesting. Everything's pretty interesting. It definitely looks like the court cards, judging by when I see the list to the other ones, they look like they're different. They're not repeating, although it could be the same. This could be the same as the King of Spades, and then King of Hearts and King of Diamonds could be the same. Like it could be just different suits from black to red, or different court cards from black suits to red suits. I don't know, but it looks pretty good. And definitely check it out for sure. So that is what I got for this week, I believe. I mentioned everything I was going to mention. Definitely check out the Arcanas at scamstuff.com, Sons of Liberty and dananddave.com. The upcoming Lux Elliptical, I think the Crown Light Blue is a pretty good price. You can check that out. That's that. See you next time with more. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.